Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about habit change and starting to make healthier lifestyle choices that serve our well-being better, and how we can do this in a mindful way, and how that may differ a little bit from how we typically approach habit change or how we've approached it in the past. And we can say that typically I think it's quite common to approach habit change by starting with something we don't like about ourselves. So we find something that's like, I don't like the way that I eat, or I don't like my weight, or I don't like how I talk to other people. And that is what motivates the change. It starts from something we don't like, and a relationship with self that's negative, right? Because we're pointing out something that's wrong in a judgment towards self. And when we start habit change in this way, now we're putting an expectation on self of, you would be a lot better if, name the condition. You didn't say those things anymore. You spoke softer. You didn't eat that. You lost a little weight. And now, as we're making the habit change, we're waiting to love self, to approve of self, until we make that change. And when we struggle with it, or when we don't arrive, or when it's taking longer than we would expect, we reprimand self, or we judge self, or we start to feel disappointed. And this brings up more negative feelings in self and towards self. And that those negative feelings are the same kind of things that actually generate the poor behavior, the less desired behaviors that we were trying to kind of heal ourselves out of in the first place. So negative habits are, created as a self-protect mechanism, a self-soothing mechanism, a coping mechanism. At one time in our lives, they were our best means of getting some need met, of helping ourselves. Like, we didn't know any other way to get this emotion to stop. So we knew that when we were younger, eating sugar, really made us feel good. We really felt happy when we did that. So as we age, when we get negative feelings and we haven't developed better coping skills or better kind of healing skills, we revert back to that. Well, sugar made me feel happy right away. So we feel bad, we consume the sugar. You can plop any kind of coping avoidance habit into that, smoking, drinking, drugs, whatever kind of behavior you have. It's not motivated to be evil to you. It's your best means of handling something difficult that you don't have another skill to handle. You could say that with, like, if you're thinking about behavior and how you treat other people. Normally we don't really want to be ugly people. We don't want to be mean people and say mean things. But again, it's our best resource when we developed that habit. It's like we're hurting inside. Something's not going well. We feel like we need to protect. And somehow projecting that onto others or becoming angry at one point served us. Maybe it put us back into a control position. Maybe it got people to do what we wanted. Or maybe it intimidated other people enough so that they stopped attacking us. But whatever these habits are, they were there at some point to serve us in some way, to take care of us. So when we're thinking about habit change, to go about it in the way that I was describing before, that like look at self as bad and then put an expectation and then aim towards it and judge self if we don't get there, that just perpetuates the cycle of that need to cope, right? Because then when we're feeling bad about not being able to do it, those same negative feelings are the ones that motivated these destructive habits in the first place. So we want to be able to shift that. So when we think about habit change and doing it in a mindful way, we really want to pay attention to how we're treating ourselves, what feelings we're generating within ourselves. We want to create this internal environment that doesn't trigger this past destructive habit that was there to help, in its own way, soothe us out of these bad places. So when we approach this in a mindful way, we always want to start with self-love. So instead of starting with being negative to self and judging, saying, this is what you're doing wrong, fix it, it's saying, I want to start by re-engaging with love for self and creating this peaceful relationship within self. And to remember our good, right? To remember who we really want to be out in the world, how we really want to show up, our authentic self. And remembering that it feels really good when we're living that way. Like it feels genuine, things come a little bit easier, we're at peace most of the time, we're not, destroying and creating destructive habits of self and then towards other people. It's like a really nice way to live. So we want to remember that's what we would like to feel. That's who we would like to be in the world. And we start cultivating those feelings within us. That relationship to self is a relationship of love. I remember who you are at your core. I know that you are good. We want to heal. Let's help each other heal. So this is the kind of dialogue we're having with self. Help me to understand you better so that we can heal together. And then every change that we make is made out of how do we love ourselves better. And when you use that mindful presence, right, which we've talked about before, but mindful presence is that being able to settle, be fully present and aware of what's happening right here and right now within you and around you. So you're using that to observe. When you do the habit that you're wanting to change, you're mindfully observing. How did this affect me? How did it feel within me? And how did it affect the people around me? And we ask, is that really who I want to be? Is that loving myself and loving others? And then if it's not, then we use our mindful awareness to understand. So not to judge, not to force to change, not to fight, but to understand. What's really going on here? And when I'm doing this, what's that need that feels like it wasn't being met? So typically, like we were saying, it's like you have a strong emotion, it's uncomfortable. Your need in that moment is to come back to peace, to feel safe. You would normally go to sugar, but now we're trying to understand, okay, my basic need there was safety, to feel loved and okay. Then we look, did sugar really give you that need? Did it really meet that? Probably not, right? It did, like for a split second it did, but it didn't really meet the actual need. So when we ask ourselves in this moment, what would really meet that need? What do I actually need to feel better, to come back to self? And then we nurture ourselves back into that state of well-being. So find those resources and meet the actual need. So whether it be connection, belonging, love, we reach out and we find that. Whether it's like in Mother Nature, whether it's a dear friend, whether it's within ourselves, I remember that this relationship, this loving relationship with self, helps me to feel that inner peace. And then when we feel nurtured, there's no reason for that negative habit to manifest, to come forward, because it was there to protect us from those bad feelings. Now we have loved ourselves and nurtured ourselves into not feeling the bad feelings. And so there's not as much of a need to engage in that negative habit. And we've created a healthy lifestyle choice, because whatever we did to nurture that need, that, get ourselves back into a good state, that was probably a self-care technique, a self-love technique, something in our lives that we made a healthy lifestyle choice to actually nurture ourselves. And the more that we do this, the better we feel, and the less we feel like we need to engage in the negative habit to cope or be okay. So this is how we mindfully engage in making lifestyle choices that serve us better. We do it all in love, and the whole process is because we know who our true self is. We want to love and nurture ourselves back there. And we know that we will feel better and we'll be taking care of ourselves when we do. So it's all in this energy of love and caring. If you enjoy these little talks and would like to join us for a group session or individual coaching, you can find us at newleafmindfulness.com. You can also find my meditations on Insight Timer. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you all very soon.